Hello, hello, hello. All right. Yay. Got one of our guests already here. Let's see. Okay, Rosie, I feel like Okay.
Hey,
Hello, how are you?
I am good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. It's so funny. Whenever I do these IG lives, I'm always like amazed when they actually work and like I can
Mm-hmm.
see and talk to the other person. So I'm like, I press the button. Is it coming?
No,
Uh,
I hear you. It has been a minute since I've done a virtual event. Like I debuted 2020, so that was like all virtual, and I was like, oh my gosh, I used to have this down. I'm like, what's my setup again? Oh no.
Right. It's Thursday. We like to throw it back. Okay.
Mm-hmm. 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 Throwback Thursday. I know that's right.
All right. And we got Morgan here too. Listen, y'all are some punctual queens, and I appreciate that. And shout out to everyone who is in the audience already. I see Lemonade Dream, aka Alex, in the building too. Hello, Morgan.
Hey Alexa, how are you?
I'm
Huh?
doing so well. How are you
Hey
doing?
Roseanne, how's it going?
It is going great. Just enjoying. We're this close to the weekend, and so I'm just like, we're so close.
Yes.
Okay. Also, have you guys met yet?
I don't think we have. No, nice to meet you.
It is an honor to facilitate the meeting of two brilliant, beautiful minds. Morgan, meet Rosie. Rosie, meet Morgan. Be friends now.
It's official.
I love it.
It's
Listen,
official.
black girls in the books. That's everything I care about.
Yes.
Like we're already like this. It's great.
Wonderful. All right, so I have a whole spiel. I want to try and keep this tight because I know it's like late, as Rosie said. We're trying to get to this weekend, so I can just go through my spiel and then we can get into this like fantastic, juicy conversation. All right, so. Peace, everyone, and welcome to Many Paths, One Purpose. This is a celebration of Shout Mouse's Megaphone Board and just an exciting conversation with my sisters in literature, Morgan Menzies from Pretty Little Bookshelf and the acclaimed author, Roseanne Brown. Air horns. Yay. My
Cute.
name is Alexa Patrick. I'm the programs director of Shout Mouse Press. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with us, we are a nonprofit writing program and publishing house committed to amplifying underheard voices. That is a mouthful. I know really what that means is that we work with young people between the ages of 13 to 24 from historically marginalized backgrounds, and we help them write and publish books. So to date, we have 60 titles and we have over 135,000 books in circulation. So
That's
we've
amazing.
been,
Y'all are
we've
out
been
here.
busy, we've
You're
been busy.
doing it. You guys are out here doing it. I love it.
And are.
Hmm.
And like for folks who are interested, you could also check out our website, shoutmousepress.org. Now, as I've mentioned before, this is a celebration of our Megaphone Board. And the Megaphone Board is an initiative that we started in 2020. It is a group of influential and mission aligned authors who can attest to the importance of elevating underheard voices. And so, over the past 4 years or so, these authors have supported our young authors by supporting their work and shouting it out on social media and writing blurbs and forwards and more. And so the inaugural members of that Megaphone board includes Jason Reynolds, Clint Smith, Elizabeth Acevedo, Hannah Khan, and Wendy Shang. And I'm sure that those authors may be familiar to all of you. Now, we have for the first time since 2020, invited a new cohort to join. This is the first time that we are announcing the names of this new cohort publicly. Oh my God, do you feel it? I feel like a little tightening in my chest. I'm so excited. Okay, so These new members are Jose Olivares, Ebony Liddell, Jacqueline Woodson, and Rosie Brown, who we have the pleasure of speaking with today. So, woo! Oh my gosh, our squad is growing. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. So, ultimately the Megaphone Board and Shout Mouse Press, as a whole, we really demonstrate the various paths that one might take to get to not just loving, but also choosing a career in diverse literature. And so my hope for this conversation is to celebrate those various paths and ultimately amplify our shared purpose of, in Shout Mouse's words, believing that everyone has a story to tell and that everyone should have the ability to tell it. Whew. Okay, that's my spiel. That is the longest that you will hear me speak today. I know that we are not here for all that. We are here because we have these two awesome women here, and so I'm going to read y'all's bios, and then we can move forward into this conversation. So, Morgie,
Girl. Is that me?
I don't know who that is. I don't know. I
Morgan
don't know
or
her.
Rosie.
I don't know her.
We're trying our best.
You're all
Morgan Menzies is the founder of Pretty Little Bookshelf, a platform dedicated to fostering community through diverse literature. She loves connecting with fellow bibliophiles, both online and in person, through book club discussions, book swaps, DIY events, and more. That's also where I met you. I met you at a Well Read Black Girl event, and you were just like handing out books, and it was so. And when she's not reading, you can find Morgan exploring independent bookstores across DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And your page is like so cute. You make bookstores you make them magical, and I mean they're already magical places, but like they are magical places. But you do such a fantastic job of showing that and like really demonstrating that wonder. And so I'm like, whenever you have like a cool like reel or something, I'm like, I just want to dive in Blue's Clues style into
Blue's Clues. Not blues in this. So I gotta go. I gotta leave now.
I know. Shout Mouse, I don't know why they gave me their Instagram. I'm just like, this is
I'm happy they did.
Blues could
but
do.
like
We can
that's
too.
that's what I want to do. It's just you. Yeah. Okay. So and then we have Rosie A. Brown. Was born in Kumasi, Ghana, and immigrated to the wild jungles of Central Maryland as a child. She graduated from the University of Maryland with a bachelor's in journalism and was also a teaching assistant for the school's Jimenez Porter Writers House program. And they're like a cool new partner of ours, too. They have some great young folks there. Yeah.
Ooh.
Her debut novel, A Song of Raz and Ruin, was an instant New York Times bestseller and indie bestseller and received 6-starred reviews. Okay, accolades. She has worked with Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney, among other publishers. So welcome, Morgan. Welcome, Rosie. It is so wonderful to have you two here. I know I just read your formal bios, but I don't know, like, is there anything else that you would like the audience to know about yourself right now, about like what you're working on, like what's exciting you about your work?
Ooh. Well, I guess for me, what's most exciting is so I started my first middle grade series in 2022. It was Sarah Boating's Guide to Vampire Hunting, and I've been working on that with Rick Riordan Presents. And I don't know about y'all, I'm a Percy Jackson. This is a Percy Jackson stan house. I am here to talk about Percy Jackson. I love that series. I have loved it since I was a baby. And so getting to work with Rick as part of Rick Riordan Presents intern has been incredible. And so right now I'm wrapping up book 3 on that. And I think I put my foot in this book. I think I can say that. Am I allowed to say that? I think I did. I really do. So I'm really, really excited for this one to come out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's how it feels.
Oh my God.
Hype
I love
yourself
that.
up, Rosie. Go ahead.
What about you, Morgan? How's the platform coming? What do you guys got cooking?
So I have a few community events coming up. I guess like the one that's coming up soonest will be November 12th. It's in partnership with Politics and Prose and Arlington Beer Garden. And so it'll be like we're there, we're doing trivia. You can get like a flight of beer, you can have your pitcher of beer, and then there's also going to be a blind date with a book. So like everything in
Ooh.
one.
Ooh, I love a
Oh
blind date with a book.
I know. Oh my gosh, I love that. And we're gonna get into the ways that you cultivate community
Mm.
in a little bit, Morgan, because I really want to pick your brain about that. And then also, Rosie, I cannot wait to dig into this new series of yours. I'm just like, yeah, it sounds so dope. And actually, with that, Rosie, congratulations on being a new member of the Megaphone Board. We are so excited to have you as a part of our squad. Can you tell us a little bit about like why you decided to accept our invitation?
Of course, of course. So like me and Chat Mouse, low key kind of we guys I go way back with y'all because I first heard about you guys in 2019. And I just came back to America from Japan and I was just like, what is going on? Who knows what's going on? And Kathy and Chat Mouse was one of the first people I connected with. And so like so much has happened since then. Like that was um pre-pandemic as we call it these days, so like a whole different dimension. But to be in a position now to be able to come back and like work with y'all now, I just the work you guys do I think is so incredible. Like when I look back on my own adolescence in those young years, like it was really sort of the mentors and the teachers and educators and just the people who really like cared about me and my work, who kind of saw that potential, who were like, you got something here, like you should not let this go, and who really pushed me to be the writer I am now. And so to see Shoutmouse doing that for so many more young people at such a bigger scale, like it's everything that I believe in and want to be a part of. And so I'm so grateful and so honored to be part of the Megaphone Board and help you guys with that mission just a little bit.
Oh my gosh. And we are so grateful for you. And yeah, it's so funny to see how like our relationship has shifted and changed along with your just like skyrocketing career. And it's like it's so cool how quickly things can shift in like, just a few years. And I think that yeah, definitely our authors see that too, where like before maybe they couldn't fathom a world where they could be an author, let alone like a published writer.
Hmm.
And then they are. And so like all these new things become possible through the portal of literature and diverse books. And yeah, and Morgan, so I already said this a little bit, but like one of the things I really admire about your work is the way that you can cultivate literary community, and also in like really new and interesting ways, like a blind date with a book. I love that. Like that's so fun. And like these like beer garden activations, or going to these different spaces, and you're really trying to figure out like what is a unique way that we can tap this community to bring them into this wonderful world of literature. And so, can you talk a little bit more about why building community with mission aligned folks is important to you and is one of your passions?
Yeah, I feel like that's how I ended up here. Um, but in terms of building community, for me, it's really about having meaningful relationships with others and like enriching your overall life experience and being able to have empathy, compassion, like truly connecting with someone on a deeper level than just like a, hey, how are you doing? Like, and so with community and the ways that we're hosting the different events, it's like, okay, you like beer and you like books. What if we combine that? Like there's some magic here. Or like with Mahogany Books, we have our Black Books Matter book swap. And so with that, it's really about increasing access to books by Black authors. And so the importance of representation. And there are barriers to literature in different, I guess, stages. And so for someone, it could be that you're not able to afford a book. And so having the book swap is an opportunity for you to get that book that may have been on your list for the longest. And while you're there, you're also meeting other readers who look like you, who may have shared experiences. And then overall, like that enriched your experience there.
That's so real. And what I'm hearing there, I'm hearing a couple of things, but like one of the things that I'm hearing is also just like accessibility, and how a lot of times like the lack of accessibility is what keeps folks from reading or buying books, or even just engaging with that part of their
Mhm.
imagination. And so it's really wonderful that both of you are, doing what you can to break that barrier so that, literature and storytelling can be more inviting. And then also, what else came up for me? Yeah, I'm thinking about how, like, I think especially living in DC, like, as an adult too, like, so many relationships become transactional,
Hmm. Yeah.
and not like interactive or even like playful.
Mhm.
And so also when you have like books as the thing that like are connecting you to another person, it allows you to like take a beat and actually connect and play and and dive into a story, and then reconnect with maybe parts of you that you haven't really engaged since you've been a young person, right? And so that's so cool. I appreciate y'all and the work that you do. And so actually, I'm curious, speaking about reconnecting with, our younger selves, what was your relationship to reading and writing like as a young person? What was it
Oh, Morgan, you want to go first?
like?
Well, so I'll say like grade school, my relationship with reading and writing was good. And then kind of like I would say like fifth grade to middle school, we were not friends with books.
Yeah.
They
And I'll
weren't
also say, Morgan, nobody's judging you. Like, this is a safe space.
It's a,
they
it's
weren't
yeah.
we,
It's a
we,
safe
we
space now.
weren't we weren't aligned. There was a misalignment.
Yeah.
But I would say in high school, it was really like the part about critical thinking with the books and like getting like deeper in terms of like, well, what does this mean to you, or like how can you apply this to yourself in the world we live in today? Then it became more exciting because it
Mm.
was like, oh, like I can see myself here, and even if the characters didn't look like me, there is something there that we can connect on. And so my relationship with reading continued to grow. And then now, as an adult reader, I'm intentional about the books I read and making sure that I am, in all honesty, reading books by authors of color. That is my priority, and it has really contributed to my love of reading.
Yeah.
No,
Rosie, what
I
about
love.
you?
First off, I love that, especially because it's like I feels like so many people they're like, oh, I just don't like reading, or I hate what we read in like high school, and then like you look at their high school reading list, and it's like
I would
I
hate
don't even know.
it
It's like dusty tome from 2000 BC, like in
too.
Greece, and it's just like who like what's that have to do with anything about anybody? Like just the actual like seeing of books about people like who look like us, who think like us, who live like us, and like just what that does to, like for people. So important. As for me, this is probably gonna deeply just surprise everybody. I was a nerd. I was the world's biggest nerd. I was always reading. It was all I know, like shocked. I am shocked. Um but I was like, if there was a book, I was in there. Like Series of Unfortunate Events. Like you remember those click books? Apparently she's doing a new one. I was in the click books. I was in there. The Gossip Girl books. Like just anything I could get a hand. I had more friends and books I had in real life.
Were you reading the uglies?
Like
The uglies, the
yes,
pretties?
yes. Scott, those that author, my favorite by him is Leviathan, which they're making the anime of. But like I was reading anything and everything I can get my hands on. Like that's just always been my favorite thing to do. Of course, Percy Jackson, my man. Um, like just so I can safely say I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where reading and writing were not a major part of it.
Oh my gosh, I'm jealous of that. I wish that that were my journey where I could like just dive into books all the time as a young person. I struggled so much, and I think part of
Hmm.
it was like maybe a little bit of rebellion in me where I'm like, don't tell me what to read. Don't do that. Like I will choose. I'm gonna choose what to read. But then also like I grew up in like a small town in Connecticut,
Ooh.
and so the reading list that we had was very, it was very Eurocentric, and then the black books that we did read, or the books that where I would actually be able to see myself in them, they're always like trauma books,
Hmm. Yeah.
and then all the kids just like like look at
Yeah.
you
Or
Yeah.
like
or
so like
or when they thought they were doing something by having us read Othello, and it's like,
For
Like,
me,
not quite.
for me, it wasn't a book, but did you guys have to watch My Friend Martin every Martin Luther King Day?
Oh my
Like, do
gosh.
y'all know that movie?
No, I don't. Thank God I don't.
Do y'all know
It's
what that
not.
movie's about? Like, do y'all?
No,
It's
no. What is
about
it about?
it's about this like these group of kids who go back in time and they meet young Martin Luther King Jr. And our school system made us watch this every single year, and
wait, I feel
every
like maybe I did see this.
my friend Martin, and like this is not I don't want to derail the chat, but that's like
No, this
that
is
look what you're talking about there, and the look where everyone's like
Yes, yes, I just
every year
Googled. I have seen
my
this.
my friend
oh
Martin.
my gosh. If I saw it, I must have like blocked it out to protect my sanity.
We got
But
someone in the chat. He said every year. Moheed, yes, yes. This was like an institution, and I was just
every
like,
year.
oh gosh.
But yeah, so I mean, but you see how, the places that ideally are supposed to make literature and storytelling feel accessible to us often, or many times they might actually do the opposite and make it actually alienating and not as appetizing. And so then there's
Hmm.
a lot of work that needs to be done to even unlearn that, or just learn that other stories exist, and that there are stories that exist that you can be the protagonist and not just like the sassy friend.
Hmm.
um
Right.
you know
Or even like if you are reading a book in high school and it has like one black character, you are not then the spokesperson for the entire black experience.
Correct.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yep. Man, my heart's like racing. I'm like,
Well, and
correct.
it reminds me of like Everybody Hates Chris and like this teacher.
Stop, not really, Chris. Stop.
Yes, that is
Oh my
traumatizing.
God. Oh
Hmm.
my God. Yeah, and so I mean, with that then, so like what do you wish that you could change about your experience with like reading and writing as a young person? Is there anything that you would want to change?
I mean, besides the obvious of like, I feel like the obvious one is more diverse authors, more specifically black authors and books. Like, I feel like that's the obvious one. So I'm trying to think, what's a deeper cut? I would have loved more writing opportunities, more writing workshops. Because
Yeah.
I was very lucky that my school system that like we were able to have like some units on like, writing and like the actual craft of writing, but it definitely was not as in depth as some other schools could get. And like there's so many schools out there that like writing as any kind of actual writing as a craft is just not in the budget. It's just not something that's accessible. And so many young people who are like so talented, like some of the most talented minds that could ever exist, that will ever exist, who just have not had that potential tapped
Yeah.
yet, who've just not had that chance to actually work at it or even realize, like, hey, like when someone actually gave me a chance and let me do this my way instead of the way I was taught to do, like told was the only way to do this, like I actually really like this. I could keep doing this. Like, and just so I would have loved to see more workshops and more like accessibility to the actual craft of it. And I'd still love to see that now. I still think it's gotten better than when I was a kid, but still not as good as it can be.
Yeah. Oof.
and
Yep.
and I guess adding to what Rosie was talking about, like the same way that they have different sports teams and athletics, like if there is an after school program where you go and it's creative writing, and so you're
Yeah.
with the group, you're with other people, you're sharing what's going on, then you don't feel like an outsider because you're all there with
Hmm.
the same purpose. So I think that would make it a lot more welcoming. And to the point that Rosie's talking about having representation, having authors visit schools, and I know like it's so it's very normal now to see black authors going in and visiting, but I don't remember having a black author come visit any of the schools that I attended, and I feel like that could have really transformed my relationship with reading and writing a lot sooner.
Yeah. Morgan, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Maryland?
No, in New
In
Jersey.
New
Hmm.
Jersey. Okay. Okay. I was just curious. Yay, tri-state area. Look at us go. But yeah, so many things there. I'm trying to remember what I was thinking. Rosie, when you were speaking, oh, right. So, with Shout Mouse Press, the way that we work is that a lot of times, like we take a look at what's going on in the world, and then we identify a community who, like, whose voices we're not really hearing in this moment, whose voices would be crucial to talking about this moment, right? And so a lot of times we'll then like partner with a nonprofit that's already working with young people from that community. And then we'll be like, hey, you want to write a book? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. But these young people who we're working with don't necessarily identify as writers, maybe, you know, have a contentious relationship with writing, though they also might have like an interest in like, oh, well, I do want to share a story. I am interested in publishing a book, and I feel like with support I can do this. But they still have this thing. There's always a kind of like hurdle that needs to be jumped in order to like comfortably access one's own story. And so like a lot of times in school, you know, we're being taught to write in a very formulaic way. And then that's being graded. So then we feel like, okay, we're trying to write to a specific goal rather than being able to express yourself freely and write in your own kind of language. And so, you know, the kind of, yeah, transformation that you see in young people when they just like learn that, oh, I actually can do this. And, you know, whatever I write when I'm expressing myself isn't wrong. And I get to actually be curious about what it is I have to say. Like it becomes a bridge to like also being curious about other people's stories, being curious about the world. And it's just like really amazing what writing workshops, when they're not being graded, when there's not a formula, like, you know, what they can actually do to a young mind and a young heart. And then, yeah, having like examples of authors come in so you can see like what authors look like, and that authors actually look like everyone. They could look like you, you know, like it's just, it's so much like breaking open of common narratives and expectations. And so, yeah, both of those things would have been so lovely to have growing up. And I feel like in the work that you all are doing, you're making that more of a possibility. And, you know, I'll say this, the work that we all do, gosh darn it.
Because you're working hard, Alexa. You're not saying what you're doing,
You're
but
out
you're
here.
working hard.
Yeah, you're out here.
Thank you. I'm trying. Wonderful. Yeah, and so okay. So we talked about what you would have wanted to see as a young person, what you wanted to change. Like, was there a specific writer and or a book that like you know, made you realize that a career in literature was possible, or that, you know, it was a passion for you? Like, who inspired you as a young person?
Well, I think there's two that come to mind. The first was The False Prince by Jennifer Nielsen. I read that one back in high school, and I remember just being like, yo, yo. Like, you know when you read a book and like you have to like chuck across the room, like you do a lap, you're just like, yo, when there's a twist, that's just, the twist is twisting. That like that was that book. Like I have never felt so blindsided and bamboozled, and like I
You
distinctly
were
remember being
flipping
in high.
tables.
Liz, I was like, I was shocked, I was flabbergasted, I was just whatever synonym you could think of. And I have remember distinctly thinking, like, I want to write a book that makes somebody feel the way I feel right now. Because I was just like, just so in awe of like, just the craft of it, like just the tricks that have
Yeah.
been played in the story and like what it takes to like tell a narrative and then like think you're taking someone one way and then to take them somewhere else completely different. It's just that I'm having my nerdy like sides coming out here, but just
Yeah.
there was that, and then the second one was actually it was a little later in college, "An Ember in the Ashes" by Sabaa Tahir, because
Mm.
that amazing book, and that was also one of the first major fantasies by a BIPOC author. She's specifically Pakistani, and really seeing this fantasy with this non-Western focus and the way she like melded in parts of her South Asian heritage and like really bring on the story made me realize like could I write it? Like, I'm from Ghana. Like, am I allowed to write a fantasy and based on my culture?
Yeah.
Apparently I am. Oh my goodness. And like, that was what triggered me to like kind of like start rates and be like, maybe there actually is a place for a book like this.
Oh, that is so cool. I mean, also, quick little tangent at the National Book Festival a couple years ago. One of our young authors was the moderator for the Sabaa Tahir panel, and I'm just like, shout out to Sabaa Tahir, wherever you are.
The
We
GOAT.
love you.
Love her, Lord. Love her, Lord.
Big shout outs, homie. Yeah. What about you, Morgan?
So mine was later after college, actually, and one of your new board members, Jacqueline Woodson.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so Brown Girl Dreaming was
Mm,
what
mm,
did it
mm,
for me.
mm.
And really the way that she like can like put words to an experience that you get what I mean, like
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Yes.
And then she fully transports you there. So she's talking about this car ride and like, oh, I'm in the car too. And it just it it felt so real, and from that I was like, okay, like I went on a list, like a everything that she has written, I have read, and I'm just like, okay, I want to consume it.
Just
And
go down the
middle
list.
grade children's books, I read it all. And so I feel like what she is able to do for readers as a whole is really beautiful. And then as well, like with her workshops, and then like with Baldwin and everything, she is very
Yeah.
inspirational and someone that I look up to for sure.
Yeah,
Mm,
and doing that important work too of like, yes, you are creating work, but you are also community building.
mm-hmm.
And you're invested in the legacy of that work too, which is also so dope and beautiful to see. And yeah, I mean there's something so powerful and just like feeling seen by a book. And it's just like, wait a minute, is that me? Is that me in there? Like I remember my senior year in high school. Again, was in Connecticut, was one of the very few Black kids in my school, in my town.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I read the book, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria,
Yes.
by Beverly Daniel Tatum. And like at the time, it was like April, Mayish. And I was like trying to figure out like, am I gonna go to prom? Like, what's happening? And then there's a whole section in there about a Black girl trying to find a prom date, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, me,
Yep.
that's me.
Yeah, representation. Yes.
And it's just like, oh my God, it just makes you feel like you have people around
Mm-hmm.
you, and it just feels
Ooh,
so good.
can I add one more author? I thought of another
Please,
person.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, this one on another one in college, Edwidge Danticat. Or I'm Danticat, I might not be saying it. But her short, it's actually not even a whole book, but a short story collection, Crick Crack, which I think,
Wait.
yes, no, it is so good because I think for me, because like at that point I had been reading, I read Black authors, thank God, but like that was my first time like the Black immigrant because she's Haitian American, and so she writes very specifically. She's very like unapologetically and so strongly. She's writing from a Haitian American, Haitian diaspora perspective. And that was a book that made me go like that was the first time I think that I saw the very specific like Black immigrant experience
Mm,
given this literary weight in a book and like really just kind of seeing there that even within the diaspora there's so many different like just ways of being and spaces, and I was just like ooh, like I remember like just sitting in that book like just closing and just staring at the wall for like 30 minutes. I was just like I just gosh, ooh, that book. I'm just like, if you're all looking for a Rex Crick Crack, Edwidge Danticat, incredible author.
And I think
yes.
she had a new book come out
Mm.
recently.
Ooh, oh, gotta add that to my list then. Thank you.
I know. I'm like,
Let me
also
just
bad place.
type it out.
Yeah. Also, for folks who are in the audience, hello. We haven't forgotten about you. I've been seeing your messages in the chat, so thank you for being here. If you want to shout out the books that have widened your world, please do so. Maybe we can put together like a book playlist or something after this live from your book racks. Um, wow, that's so beautiful. Like I love it when like, when Black people, when people of color generally are allowed their intersections, when they're
Hmm.
allowed their multitudes. It's not just a single narrative. Like they're like we contain multitudes. It's a very diverse narrative. And so the more that we get to actually dive into people's unique humanity is just so good. So good, so good, so good. Okay, so next question. We've been talking about you all as young people. I want to talk about young people today and yeah, how they move you and how they inspire you. One of the things that I tend to always say when I am like on a microphone on behalf of Shout Mouse Press is that like, you know, young people are often told that they are our future, even though they're often at the front lines of our current movements for social justice, that they are innovators of language, that they're like the most powerful change makers. And so they are really our present, our now, and a now that we should be investing in. And so I'm curious if there are young people or a young person right now who is inspiring you and who is teaching you. What young people are you being inspired by right now?
For
Ooh.
me, I would say Yara Shahidi.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, the way that she truly leads with curiosity. And so I know it's that she has a podcast that's coming out, and like to see her going from television like as an actress to now like behind the scenes, and then her relationship with her parents and really creating space for people to have dynamic conversation is really something that I guess I am learning and seeing as an opportunity for us to become better individuals, but also better to one another.
Mm. Yes, and I think, I mean, I guess I have two answers. In my personal life, it's definitely like just the young people. I go to a lot of schools and I got to do a lot of school visits. And so this is like just the students who I'm meeting at these school visits are just so just vibrant. Like I mean that's a weird way, but I can't figure out what other word just captures like they have so many multitudes, so many shades, but like especially when I consider like I usually am seeing usually from maybe like fourth grade through up through like high school, right? And so for everyone who I'm seeing now, like they have gone through some of, for me as a full adult, some of what I consider some of the most tumultuous like last 4 years, last 5 years of my life. And so they were going through all that while being like, you know, young kids, while being teenagers, while being just, and I just seeing the like the brightness they have, the curiosity and the passion, the fire, and the fact that they are facing some really dire things, like everything adults are dealing with going on in the world. Like young people live in this world too. They are seeing all this happen. They are seeing leaders fail them. They are seeing what's happening with the climate and seeing the way that like they have not given up hope. And there's always this feeling like if these young people, if these kids can stand up here and be like, I can't fix this, but I can do something. It's always like what I need is my reminder, like when I'm starting to feel that despair, that cynicism, like, oh, we've been here before, nothing ever changes. But it's like, okay, everything can change, but like I can change this. I can change my neighborhood. I can change my block.
Yeah.
And so just getting that in there, and just yeah, so seeing the young students, and especially the young boys as well. I want to shout out as well because I've been noticing back when I would start going on school visits, like there was this thing like young boys felt like they couldn't like be into like girl books or something like that, or like I'd always see like a group of like little boys in the back, and there would always be one who kind of wants to listen, but like him and his buddies are like, ugh, we don't care about this, and so like he's like looking over there but trying to be out slick, right? But I've been seeing the last couple of years something really been happening, like seeing a lot more young men feeling more confident coming up and being like, I love this, I love reading, like just really being in it and engaging with like my work and work of others. And I wanted like this is nothing against young girls or people from other genders, but I'm just like with all there's so much happening right now, so many negative forces going to young men and like really trying to poison them in their minds and things. And so like just seeing so many like push against that, like I'm not gonna be that. I'm not gonna continue that toxic cycle. That is something that has been giving me a lot of hope.
Uh, I love that, and thank you both for your answers. And it's so yeah, it's so beautiful to witness. I think what I would describe as like also like a fearlessness, like a courage to confront like oneself in the world and oneself's relationship to the world that like I feel like, you know, as you get older, you begin to talk yourself out of.
Hmm.
Like there's a bravery and there's a courage that I think that we can all learn from young people where they'll just be like, no, like I'm not going to do this. No, I won't stand for this. No, I like this book. I am going to read this book. Like, you know, whatever that thing is, that again, is the thing that's the impetus for changing things in the right direction. So yes, thank you so much for your answers. And so, as I said, Shout Mouse, we are a youth-centered organization. All of our authors are young people between the ages of 13 to 24. And so, I'm curious about like what your hope would be for Shout Mouse's young authors and other young writers and readers out in the world. What is your hope for them?
Morgan, you want to go?
Rosie, you are on the board. I feel like this is you.
I know. I don't want to. I feel like I've been talking a lot. And I always try. I don't want to like take over the conversation. But I
No,
guess
not at all.
for me, my biggest hope is that the young people who get to work with Shout Mouse, who get to work with you and young writers, they take what they have learned and they pay it forward. You
Mm,
know, I really feel like, all of us, like, we are all here because of something that somebody did like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, like decades ago, generations ago, that let us be here. And so the best thing that we can do is like, it's like pulling up as we climb. Or I did not say that right, but y'all knew what I was trying to say when I said that. I'm going to remember as soon as we're done. I'm going to be like, oh, I said it so stupid. But it's that, it's that, it's the giving back even as you're taking, and like even as we are all, because we're all out here hustling. It's hard. We're all got to pay our rent. We all got to like pay our bills. And so, but remembering, making sure, taking time and like, okay, even as I'm like going out and getting mine, making sure like the whole team eating, my community is out there too. So making sure that mentality of like giving back and being there and being present, they continue and they grow in that and they grow with that.
yeah.
That was beautiful, Rosie. I I would
Morgan's
say that
like ditto.
Same, me
love that.
too.
I think my hope is that the young writers and other individuals, they continue writing, and that Shout Mouse and other platforms that are able to give them space to continue their work and potentially become involved in the capacity that Rosie is, and to see themselves as mentors. I think when you're younger, you don't always think that you can inspire someone else or that someone else can learn from you, but they absolutely can. So I hope that they will know that they are making a huge impact and that they have the capacity to make the difference.
Yes, I love it. Yes. And I think one of the really beautiful things about Shout Mouse's program is that, like, once our young people are published, once our books are published, we also, they get to be a part of our author talks program where, like, different schools and invite them in to speak on behalf of their book, on behalf of the mission of their book. And so they're engaging with other young people who, again, might not identify as a writer, might not be able to see that as a possibility for them, and you begin to see like the little like lights come on, and like, oh wait, no, but this person like looks like me, they talk like me, they're young like me, and like they've done all this, like I wonder what it is that I can do. And so you begin to see that legacy already start. We've already had like we had like one of our newer authors from our Beyond Borders books, our bilingual children's books, um, like she just got published, and then she was like, oh, I remember one of your authors coming into my school when I was in middle school, and like they like met each other, like, wait, I remember that when I saw you talk about your book, I thought that maybe I could do it. So now look, and it's so wonderful when you are able to actually witness that legacy. And yeah, and you all are both also a part of that legacy in the ways that you inspire the people around you and your readers and your followers, the people that attend your events. Like, you all are community builders and you are possibility makers. And so I'm so grateful to be in community with you, and that I get to, hold your Thursday night hostage. Um, yeah. So we've reached the end of my questions. We were ripping and running. That was great. I feel electric right now. Is there anything else that you all would like to plug, or plug again, if you just want to remind folks about what's coming up for you?
Um, Yeah, sure. So what I have coming up next, I have a couple things going down the pipeline. The first one I have, I'm doing a new graphic novel. Y'all know Are You Afraid of the Dark? That old TV show from the 90s.
Yes.
So I am doing a graphic novel with them. It's called The Sinister Sisters and Other Terrifying Tales. It's all myths based on Ghanaian like folklore, mythology, urban myths. And that is coming out in January. We just dropped the cover, so that's right on my Instagram. Like I mentioned, I have the Sarwa 3 that is coming out. I believe it's next April. Don't quote me on that, but it's online as well. And that's going to be the trilogy closer. So all 3 books will be available. Y'all can pick all of them up and binge read them all. And a couple things I don't think I can quite talk about yet, but we got fires, we got ovens in the fire, ovens in the, we got whatever that saying is as well. It's the end of it is Thursday, okay? If y'all wanted me to be able to speak, you should have done this on a Monday. I'm sorry. Ovens in the fire. Let me just turn this off. I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh. So for me, I have my virtual book club that meets once a month. So our next meeting is actually this Sunday, and we're reading The Lion Women of Tehran. So if you've read it, or if you have time to read it by Sunday, you're more than welcome to join us. I know I'm like, oh, it's the 24th, but you're more than welcome to join us for this meeting, and then we have ones coming up as well. If you're based in Maryland, DC, or Virginia, we have the Books and Brews event that's on November 12th, and there will be other upcoming bookish community events. So definitely look out for those.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, you all plug in, lock in, okay? Because that sounds fantastic. All right, and again, congratulations to our new Megaphone Board members. We have Jose Olivares, we have Ebony Liddell, Jacqueline Woodson, and Rosie Brown. To celebrate the announcement of this new Megaphone Board cohort, we are allowing you to purchase books of ours for 20% off. Okay, all of our books on our website. You get to use the code Megaphone to get 20% off of our books. And so this is also great if you're wanting to do some like holiday shopping, a little early holiday shopping. Megaphone, plug it in. And then also for other folks who are passionate about diverse literature, we're hiring, y'all. We're hiring. I'm looking for a programs manager, and I'm not like the other bosses. Okay, I'm a cool boss. All right. So if you,
Whatever that means.
I'm a, like cat backwards and I'm cool.
Hello, fellow
So
youths.
for the youth, if you want to work with us, you can visit shopmousepress.org/careers. And then otherwise, please follow us, sign up for our newsletter, stay in touch, follow Rosie, follow Pretty Little Bookshelf. And yeah, okay. Whew, that is it. Rosie, Morgie.
Morgan.
Morgan, thank you so much. I am
Thank
so
Thank
you.
you.
grateful for you both. Your lights. Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
you. Good
Night.
night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.